All right, two of those California so-called rebels join me now. Edgar, mayor of Los Alamitos County, and Margaret Mims, the Fresno County sheriff. Thank you both for being here tonight after your day at the White House. Mayor, what was it like today? Did you hear from the president that help is on the way?
I heard help was on the way. You know, it was really encouraging. It was an action-oriented meeting. He had the sheriff talking about really the law enforcement side. He had the city council members that were actually focused on the constitutional issue of the checks and balances that really need to happen between the federal, the state, and the local jurisdictions.
All right, Sheriff, I want to read you something from Norma Chavez Peterson, Executive Director of the ACLU of San Diego, talking about law enforcement working with the immigrant community. She says this: nationwide, law enforcement leaders and police chiefs acknowledge that public trust is key to effective community policing. We know that people are less likely to report crimes when victims and witnesses fear they may be deported if they contact local police. It's an argument we hear a lot. What is the reality of the impact of the sanctuary state laws on your ability to do your job as a law enforcement official?
Well, the impact is that the sanctuary state law protects criminals, not victims and witnesses. And that's the big problem and the big myth that some of the victims and witnesses are being told that make them afraid. So the sanctuary state law says that when somebody commits a crime, gets arrested, and then gets booked into a county jail, I'm prohibited from talking to ICE about some of those inmates in my jail. Nothing about victims and witnesses. In fact, we put a lot of effort into try to reassure people in our community that if you're a victim or a witness to a crime, I can actually help you be here legally by recommending a U visa that gives someone actually a 3-year legal residency if they report the crime and are involved in the prosecution. So that's completely fake. It's a myth, and unfortunately it's causing more fear in our communities that are victimized.
Well, and you heard in Trace's report, he talked about how Governor Brown had responded to you all being here today. From your lieutenant governor, who is running to be governor, Gavin Newsom, he says this: cute meeting, real Donald Trump, cherry picking a few right-wing electeds from a state of 39 million people. That's you too. He says, since your team clearly didn't brief you, here are the facts. Sanctuary counties have fewer crimes, higher median household incomes, lower poverty, and lower unemployment. So, Mayor, if that's the case, why are you fighting back against these policies?
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping that he isn't really telegraphing what could come if he was to be elected as governor. We're hoping to get a governor that will actually try and work with us. On city council, we're bipartisan. We have to be able to work with both sides of the aisle. We're reasonable. We're not low life like the Governor Brown had called us a couple weeks ago. And, you know, what we're really hoping to do is, you know, lead by example. The President of the United States invited the people back to their house. He invited city council members from one of the smallest cities in Orange County and a sheriff, a bunch of people. You know, he wants to have a dialogue. He wants to get feedback. And like Melinda said, the Assemblywoman, you know, we would welcome a discussion with Governor Brown. You know, as a matter of fact, with the Attorney General Becerra, you know, I would love to have an open forum with him. Have him come to a little city where he could beat up on somebody that probably he doesn't feel is prepared. But as a bipartisan person that's dealing directly at the retail level in politics, we know exactly what's going on. And this is not a partisan issue. This is something that people want. They want law and order.
Yeah, and we took the show out there for a couple of days in Los Angeles. We have a bureau there, but we were all over the state talking to people, seeing what was going on. And the numbers don't lie. These aren't our numbers. I mean, independent studies show a high poverty rate, soaring homelessness, crime issues, fiscal issues as well. Sheriff, what are you hearing from people in your community about how they feel about what's being decided in Sacramento by the top and how it trickles down in your communities?
What I'm hearing in my community is great support for fighting back on the sanctuary state issues. It's really important to us to be able to have open dialogue with our federal law enforcement partners. We learned that after 9/11. We learned how important communication and relationships are. And now here we are, years later, and people seem to have forgotten that message. And it's very disappointing to me. I've been sheriff now for 12 years, and I really feel like I know what my community wants, and they want the rule of law. We're not talking about our hardworking immigrants out there not committing crimes. We do not ask victims or witnesses of crimes if they're here legally or not. My concern is once somebody gets arrested and booked into our jails, we need to have free-flowing information going back and forth with ICE and our jail population.
And I know that you mentioned at the White House today you were worried about having an MS-13 gang member and not being able to tell federal agents that you had someone like that. All right, Sheriff Mims and Mayor Edgar, keep us updated, and thanks for dropping in after a long day at the White House.
Thank you.
Good to see you both.